Hi everybody, this is Steve Ludwig, host of Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture and the Beatles Hour with Steve Ludwig at planetludwig.com. Here's an interview we did with Chanel Ryan on June 10th, 2014. It's from show number 44. To hear the entire show, check out the menu at planetludwig.com. And now, please enjoy the interview. And our next guest is an actress, model, and producer who's appeared in many movies and has appeared in over 30 national commercials. She's graced the pages of Maxim, FHM, and Playboy, and I will get to look at her pictures as soon as I'm done with the articles in those magazines. But she's also acted in movies with fellow stars such as James Caan, Billy Crystal, Sean Astin, Christopher Lloyd, Judd Nelson, and Kane Hodder, just to name a few. She's a staunch animal activist. Right away, that's thumbs up in my book. And it's been said of Chanel Ryan that she possesses the combo of stunning beauty and comedic timing, and her dedication to character and fantastic acting chops easily make her one of filmdom's favorite actresses. It's my extreme pleasure to welcome to the show Ms. Chanel Ryan. Welcome to the show, Chanel.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. I'm so glad I can finally get to speak with you because I know of you and I followed your career, and it's really a pleasure to talk to you. Now, before we go on to anything else, I want to let all our listeners know, coming up this weekend, you're going to be in the Bizarre AC Convention, Atlantic City Convention at Tropicana.
Yes, I absolutely will. We are having one of the film women, Circus of the Dead, is having its East Coast premiere there. So myself and Parrish Randall, who is, I'm the female lead in the film. Him and Bill Oberst are the male leads, and myself and Parrish will be there for the premiere of the film, as well as we'll be there for 3 days of the convention, signing autographs as well.
Mm. That's June 13th, 14th, and 15th, and I can't think of a better day to start off a convention like this than Friday the 13th. But it's
I know, isn't that cool?
Chanel, I saw the trailer for Circus of the Dead. Holy smokes! That scene that's in the trailer with you and the clown. I won't give it away because I'll let our listeners watch. But boy, that was intense.
Yes, it was intense. What can I tell you? And there's really no way to prepare for anything like that. You know what I mean? You just kind of have to jump in and go for it.
But
the funny thing is we're laughing between takes, and you would never know filming it.
Yeah.
And at one point in time, should I talk about it a little, or should I not say anything?
I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave that.
I'll say a little bit. There's one point when I'm running from him to the house, and I'm being chased by Bill Oberst Jr. plays Papa Corn, the sadistic, homicidal clown, leader of the clown pack in Circus of the Dead. You'll never look at the circus again once you see this. And I'm running from the house, running through the house from him, and I trip and fall at one point. And God bless him, he's wearing these huge clown boots. And they're kind of big and awkward, and you can't really judge what he's doing, and I'm barefoot, and my poor toe got stomped on over and over. And there's times when I'm crying and the tears are real. And when it turns black and purple immediately, you know that there's a problem.
Oh, man.
But that in itself made the scene a little bit easier to do when there's legitimate pain.
Occupational hazard.
Yeah, it was. It's funny. I forget I went straight from that to another job, and everyone was like, "What happened to your toe?" And I just kind of said, "It's a long story."
Yeah, really. We're going to skip the story right now, thanks. We're speaking with Ms. Chanel Ryan, and she is going to be at the Bizarre AC Convention, AC, of course, for Atlantic City, this weekend, June 13th, 14th, and 15th. Go to Chanel's website, ChanelRyan.com, and, of course, we all know how to spell Chanel Ryan, but for those of you who are spelling deprived, or it's ChanelRyan.com. And you were just in New Orleans, Chanel. Why don't you tell us about what's in there?
And by the way, back to the website really quickly for information on the Bizarre AC appearance, as well as other upcoming appearances. There is an appearance section on my website. So if you click that, it will have all the information on the show and the premiere and the link to it, etc.
Thank you. I should have mentioned that, Chanel. I apologize. Thanks.
That's all right.
Yeah, you were in
New
New
Orleans. Yes. I actually just got back from New Orleans. I was filming a comedy called Mind Puppets. I have a small but fun part.
Love the title.
Yeah, it's a great title, right? And it's an amazing cast. Kevin Pollak, Vinnie Jones, John Delancey from Star Trek fame.
Mm-hmm.
My scenes are with an actor named Christopher Van Uckerman, who has one of the largest fan bases I have ever seen. He apparently was on a TV show in Colombia for a year. So every time I post anything on Twitter, it gets retweeted like 100 times. Like his fans, they're fanatical. I said that to him when I met him. I'm like, you've got the largest fan base out of anyone I've ever worked with. It was, what can I say about New Orleans? Really fun shoot, just amazing art direction, great hair and makeup and wardrobe. Just, the director, Juan Curry, has just created this really amazing world.
Chanel, you've been all over. I'm sorry. Go right ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
I was going to say it was pouring rain, and my character is wearing fishnets in the film. And so I've got fishnets and rain boots on that I'm walking around in between takes. But I'm sorry, continue.
No, you've been all over the world. Have you been in New Orleans before this project?
I have worked in New Orleans several times. It's one of my favorite places.
Isn't it great? Yeah, my wife and I have been there. Isn't it a wonderful place?
It's just amazing. There, I mean, you just get so caught up in everything. And I have to say, one of the nice things about going into a film like Mind Puppets, because I did have a small part, I'm only in a few scenes, there's not the pressure when you go into something and you're doing the lead in it that you are in every scene. After work, you're going home to memorize and you really have no life. Like, I had tons of free time when I was there. So I got to go to dinner. I was there for 3 days. I got to go to dinner every night and really kind of see the sights a little bit and have some fun, which was
best of both worlds.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned how different it is, but when you do have the lead in the movie,
yes.
Does after you finish up with a movie, and I mean, just from like I said before, the scene from Circus of the Dead, even though you guys were laughing between takes, but in a film that you're so involved with the lead, does it take you some time after shooting to wind down? Like, do you kind of say, holy smokes, what have I just been through? Does it take you a while to kind of get yourself...
I don't usually have the luxury of time. I've been very fortunate, and last May, 2013, I literally I was on back-to-back films from the beginning of May through right before Christmas. So it would be one of those things that but let me tell you something. Like, by mid-December, I was exhausted. And like, literally, I think suffering from exhaustion, just working long hours like that, and I'm not complaining, I love what I do. But going back to your
it's nice to be working.
hotel and just prepping for the next day and, trying to get all of your personal things done and maybe work out once in a while. Yeah, generally it would be like I would prep for the next project either at night after filming or on the plane, or sometimes I would have a few days in between projects. So, and this year is shaping up exactly the same. I, just got home and now I leave again. So, no. Yes, in a perfect world, I would like some downtime, but I'm equally happy not to have it. So.
Yeah, but then again, it's nice to be so in demand. That must be tough because you're juggling the two careers as an actress and a model, and of course you've got to do your workouts and all. But sometimes, I mean, you must be exhausted. It's got to be a tough juggling act between the two.
I love what I do, so I don't feel exhausted. I feel really energized and kind of psyched about everything. And I don't really model anymore. I was really fortunate, and I had a successful modeling career that took me all over the world. But it got to the point that I had to make a decision that if I was serious about my acting career, I was going to have to stop modeling. The problem was I was never in town. I would go for an audition, and then I would get a call back, but I would be out of the country on a modeling job. So it was a very scary. A couple years ago, I had to make like a big decision. Like, if I really want to be an actress, I need to switch my focus now, or I'm going to be one of those girls that used to have a career and end up living in a box.
Yeah.
So
no,
it's a
you know
scary
what?
thing to turn down. And let me tell you something. I turned down like a job in the Caribbean. I turned down a job in Thailand. Like, I turned down jobs in some amazing places, and it's a very scary thing when you're turning down, a nice paying job in some exotic, beautiful place, staying home, hoping that you're going to get an audition and maybe book something.
Yeah.
But I just sort of made the commitment and did it, and luckily it's worked out in my favor.
Yeah, it would seem to me, Chanel, that movies certainly have longer life, a longer shelf life.
I wish that part of me wishes. I always started off wanting to act, and then I sort of got sucked into the modeling, and it's hard to turn down a paying job in an exotic location for an audition you may or may not even get a call back for. So for a long time, I wasn't very focused, and I kind of had one foot in both worlds, but I wasn't really doing what was necessary to have a successful acting career. And now I am. And so part of me regrets the time I spent modeling, and the other part of me, I've had a really great life. I've been all over the world, and so there's good things about it too. Yeah,
I'm sure as many of us do, you can't go through life saying what if. You just kind of move forward, right? Yeah. A little bit before, a little while ago, Chanel, you mentioned your Twitter page as well. Before I have my whole list of questions set up here, but why don't you tell our listeners your Twitter name and all? How can they get in touch with you on your Twitter page, Facebook page?
And I have to apologize because I know I jump around from topic to topic. You have to just keep reining me in. My Twitter page is my actual name, just Chanel Ryan, ChanelRyan. I also have a YouTube channel, and that is The Chanel Ryan. And I have an eBay store. You can find an IMDb for all the latest updates on my acting career, and of course Instagram. And that's just The Real Chanel Ryan. But there's links to all my social media. If you're on my website, if you just scroll down at the bottom to any of the pages, there's links to all the social media down there.
So, I guess that's the one-stop shopping, ChanelRyan.com, right? Everything we need to know, they'll find it. Yeah. What's more difficult, Chanel, comedy or drama?
Both are equally challenging for different reasons, but comedy is really my first love. So for me, more work goes into creating the circumstances to bring the dramatic roles to life. And oddly enough, that's what I've been booking more of, is the dramatic roles, simply because there's so much demand in the horror genre. Does that answer the question?
Yes. Isn't it amazing how big horror is? I mean, it's my favorite genre as well. But
it's huge. And it's such a good training ground as well.
Yeah.
It really is.
And the fans are so loyal, aren't they?
The horror fans, I have to say, are the best. The very first, I went to Shockfest earlier this year. I had two films, Circus of the Dead and Dead Sea, were both nominated for the same award for the best new trailer.
Ooh, congratulations.
Dead Sea won. It was cool. And so that was sort of my first little foray into the horror genre. And then we recently had the world premiere for Circus of the Dead at Texas Frightmare Weekend, which was absolutely amazing. It was so much fun. The horror fans are they're the best. I mean, they made the show so much fun. And I remember at the Circus of the Dead premiere, it was, anytime you have a film, it's always a little scary, especially Circus of the Dead's really been getting a lot of attention. So it's always a scary thing to me, because I know personally when I'm really excited to see something, I'm often let down. So I was terrified I was terrified going into the actual world premiere. And I thought, God, what if people hate it? But we walked into the theater. It was completely packed. There wasn't a seat in the house. People were sitting on the floor in the back of the theater.
Oh, that's great.
Aisles, leaning against the walls. Everyone was chanting, "We want the clowns." It was pretty amazing. There was a crowd outside that couldn't get in. It was pretty cool. I'm hoping at Bazaar AC we get as good of a reception. We'll see.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've only seen the trailer, but I mean, go to Bazaar AC just, if nothing else, to meet Chanel Ryan and to see Circus of the Dead. It's got to be great, Chanel, when, like, for instance, when you're at the premiere of Circus of the Dead, when the audience is reacting at all the right places, and you know that it's done so well that, oh, wow, this is it. We did it right. It's got to be a great feeling.
Circus of the Dead is, it's unapologetically brutal. It's
Mm-hmm.
also very artistic. It's also funny. So it's one of those things, like, I'm excited about it. It's always hard to judge your own work and when you're in it.
Yeah.
And the
It's
scenes
hard
I'm
to
in,
be
I always find
objective, right?
myself,
Yeah.
yeah, and I have a love scene in the film, and I find myself sinking way down in my seat for that and a couple other scenes in the movie. I'm like, oh God.
What's it like doing
So
that scene? Being you brought it up.
truthfully, that was my first one,
Mm-hmm.
and oddly enough, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. The actor who I have the love scene with, I did another film with, and I referred him. I did Bad Kids Go to Hell with him, and I referred him for this film, thinking, oh, it'll be easier doing it with a friend. For future reference, probably not. That's a good idea.
Cross that off
the
list of things.
But I will say this, it's really, we shot in Texas in August, so it was scorching hot.
Ay, ay, ay.
So it's hot, it's very technical, it's not, it's another day at work. It's not, like, not to ruin it, but it's not what people think it is when you go.
Yeah, you hear that, Chanel.
And there's the crew watching you, and they're jamming the camera in your face and the mic here, and you know what I mean?
That is true. You hear that so much from actors that, you know what, there's a million people around. Yeah, I guess it's so.
Yeah, and truthfully, I was very nervous because that was the first time I've ever done a love scene.
Mm-hmm.
And also because it's with a friend, and I was like, oh God.
Double whammy.
But yeah, but it turned out all right in the end. So.
I'm sure it did. With all of your preparing for acting and all, I'm sure you've had to learn some different accents or speaking in dialects. What's the toughest part of that, or what's the toughest accent you've ever had to study?
I can do a few. I'm half German and half Irish, so those are the toughest ones for me, and I'm working still on perfecting those. And with the way that my schedule is, I sort of work on what I'm doing immediately next. So there hasn't been a priority for that.
Yeah,
my goal is, in a perfect world, I work on them a little bit every day, but that just hasn't been happening recently.
Your role in George Wallace, the movie George Wallace, legendary director John Frankenheimer offered you your role right on the spot. When you auditioned, congratulations on that, first of all. When you auditioned, did you know that you had nailed it? Did you say, this is a good one, I feel good about this?
No, not at all.
No, huh? Wow.
No, I was so young and naive at the time, and I really had no idea how lucky I was to walk on to such a huge set with an iconic director and really legendary established cast, and then book a part on the spot. Like, I didn't have a clue. All my scenes were with Gary Sinise and Mayor Winningham, who, both of them are just amazingly talented, and then little old me. So it was very fun and a little bit intimidating.
Yeah. How was Gary and Mayor? How were Gary and Mayor?
Absolutely wonderful, very sweet, very helpful. They really made it like a great, because that was at the time, I want to say, one of my first acting jobs, and I had to learn a Georgian accent as well on the spot, and yeah, Southern accents are, in my opinion, some of the easiest to do, but yeah, it was. They were wonderful. I mean, they were absolutely wonderful.
I know with your reputation now, your great reputation as an actress, you probably don't have to do many auditions anymore. But were auditions nerve-wracking for you when you're early on? I mean, I can't even imagine going in a room.
I'll tell you, in the indie world, I'm pretty much offer only, and in the studio world, I audition. And yeah, auditions are, at this point in time, I pretty much have fun with them. But there was a time when I wasn't as secure in my craft, and they were a little bit, and I'm not saying I don't get nervous, because everybody does. But now I just feel like, yeah, but I feel like all you can do is prepare, feel good about what you're doing, and you know what I mean, go in there and have fun with it. And and either you're what they're looking for or you're not. And the way I judge how successful an audition was isn't by whether or not I even got the part. It's by how I felt like I did. And if I felt like I did everything that I went in there to accomplish, and then I felt good about it.
That's got to be a great place to be in your career when you're able to feel that, right? That, listen, I know I did my best, and, you know, there'll be other roles.
Well, we say that, but yes, and for the most part it's true, but every now and then there will be something. I was recently up for a big film opposite Robert Redford and Nick Nolte, and I had to go out to Atlanta and meet with the director, and then it was between me, and I was on a very short list between me and another girl, and in the end I didn't get it. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with it, but it's one of those things where every now and then there'll be a film that I think about all the time. For the most part, I'll go into the audition and then I throw it away after. Maybe I hear something, maybe I don't. And
Mm-hmm.
there'll be once in a while there's one that you just really want, and you're like, "What, did I get it?"
Yeah.
So, what are you gonna do?
Oh yeah, well, I think that's a great attitude, Chanel. You know, and you have enough confidence in your ability, and rightly so, that you know that there are going to be other parts. Yeah. You mentioned Gary Sinise and Mare Whittingham. You've worked with so many other great actors and actresses, and going on your website, ChanelRyan.com, our listeners can find out. But why don't you share with our listeners now some of the actors whom you've shared casts with?
You know, I have been so fortunate. I also have to go on my website too because I forget.
I have a list here of some of them if you'd like me to run down.
I can tell you a lot of them. In Circus of the Dead, I was opposite Bill Oberst Jr., who is not only legendary in the horror genre, just an amazing actor and a wonderful person. Bad Kids Go to Hell, Judd Nelson and Ben Browder.
Yeah.
Small Apartments, Matt Lucas, who's funny as hell. And it's each person that I work with as well, you really learn a little something from, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Alice D., I play Kane Hodder's evil sidekick.
That's been a kick, huh?
That was fun. When I first started out, I did a pilot called The Sweet Spot with the Murray brothers, so I was opposite Bill Murray, which was...
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
what was he like, Chanel? I have to ask you what Bill Murray was like.
He was really nice.
Little out there, though, I would imagine. Nice. Kooky and nice.
Yeah,
right.
He's just like the characters he plays.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I know him that well, but the little bit that I did.
No, but that's kind of what I would expect him to be like.
Yeah. So, exactly. Who else? I worked with Andy Williams. Do you guys remember him? When I very first started out, I did
we used to have the Andy Williams Christmas album when I was a little boy.
Exactly.
Mother's favorite.
Okay, so I did an Easter special with him for the BBC, and it's one of these 60s things. Come on, Crater Daddy. Okay, Crater Mama. One of these wild and crazy, yeah. And then who else? In Basketball with Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Oh, what a great movie. Yep.
Of course, Gary Sinise, Mare Whittingham.
Right.
I could go on and on. I worked with a lot of people. I've been very fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, again, listeners, if you go to ChanelRyan.com, all of the Chanel's huge, vast career is right there on ChanelRyan.com. At this point in your career, Chanel, are you I shouldn't say surprised. It's not a good word, but can you believe all the things you've accomplished at this, this young stage of your life?
I don't feel like I've accomplished that much, actually.
Where
I want to go is, I think I will probably never be satisfied. I'm one of those people that always wants more, and I'm always looking I'm very goal-oriented. So I'm like, where do I want to be in 6 months, and how do I get there? So I'm always looking for what do I want to do next.
I think being driven is a good thing, rather than just sitting back on your laurels. Good for you.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it is.
You are an animal lover and a big animal activist, which in my book, that makes you such a great person among all your other things that you've done. But did you have pets as a little girl? How did you become so involved with animal activism?
Absolutely. I always joke that I love animals more than people.
Well, you know what?
I grew up with...
I'm not even sure that's so much of a joke because I understand very
Yeah.
much what you say with some people. Yep.
Well, I mean, they don't have a voice, and they need us to, speak for them and take care of them, and yeah. I'm from the East Coast, and I grew up with a family of hardcore carnivores, and I never liked meat, and
Ah.
I didn't understand why I was different. It reminded me of eating my pet, and we did grow up with, I had dogs, my grandma had dogs, so yeah, yes, we grew up with pets. I had a guinea pig, my brother had rats.
Ah.
Um,
You know what I
so,
hear is. God, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No,
I was
go
going to
ahead.
say, you know what I hear a great pet is too? You mentioned guinea pigs, but I hear pigs are great pets. I would love to have a
It,
little
It's yes.
teacup
It's
pig or
funny you
something.
should mention it. I was on one of the rescue sites recently, and there's a pig that they recently saved that's on the site. I forget his name, but yeah, I've heard pigs are really wonderful pets too. They're very intelligent and very
Yes.
trained.
Yep.
I
hmm
think people don't realize that.
I think too about animals. I don't know if you feel the same way, but it's unconditional love. I mean, when you come home,
Absolutely,
it's the first time they've ever seen you. Every time you come home,
absolutely,
it's like yeah, and like you
yeah.
said, you don't always get unconditional love from humans, but animals are
No,
100% of the time.
well, I lost my dog Lucky of 15 and a half years on January 19th, and it was.
Oh, I'm so
I miss
sorry.
him every day. There's just going to be a hole in my heart forever, and it's awful coming home when he's not here. And that was, I have to say, that's one of the most difficult things about all the traveling that I do is leaving. I had a dog Lucky, and I have a cat Ruby Tuesday, so it's always difficult to leave them. And they can. The funny thing is, they could always sense when I was, I'm forever packing suitcases, whether it's for a job in town or whether I leave town, because there's always a certain amount of things that they want you to bring.
hmm
So, but they can tell the difference between when I pack a suitcase just to go for the day and when I pack a suitcase
It's
to leave.
amazing, right?
Yeah, I don't know how they know, but they know. It's weird.
I know this doesn't make it any easier, but 15 and a half years is a good life for a dog.
Oh,
But
no, I do.
it doesn't make it
I'm
any easier,
surprised
I
I
know.
can talk to you right now without crying about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate to have had him for that long, but he was so healthy, and I really thought I was going to have him for like 18 years. Everyone thought he
Yes.
was a puppy. He was
hmm
so energetic, and he
What
just
kind of a dog
he
was?
got lymphoma. He was
What
a
kind of a
border
dog?
collie,
Oh,
border
beautiful.
collie,
Yeah.
and he got lymphoma, and I am very thankful it happened so quickly. So he didn't
Yes.
suffer. It was like a 2-week thing, and it was still the most difficult thing I've probably ever done in my life to this point.
My wife and I have a pug. He's 14 and a half. We named him Jem. We
Oh,
named him Jem because of the movie To Kill a Mockingbird.
uh-huh.
If it was a girl, we were going to call it Scout, and a boy is
Oh,
Jem.
that's cute.
So he's 14 and a half, and same thing. I mean, he's had radiation and things like this, and we
Oh,
brought him to the vet, and he said, start preparing yourselves because, this old Jem is going to be doesn't have too much more time with us. So every time we take him to the vet now, he makes the decision as long as because he's on painkillers. Anyway, I feel your pain is what I'm
yeah.
saying, and it's just
Well, no,
no
you
easy
know
way
what? I
around.
literally, yeah. I mean, we can talk about it more off the air, but
Yeah,
but in regards to your dog, but yeah, it's not easy.
yeah,
It's never easy.
yeah.
And you will, like, part of our family is gone. Like, I will,
Absolutely,
there's a whole,
absolutely.
my cat is lonely, but
Yeah.
she's
hmm
such a bitch that I can't bring another animal.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to have another dog by any means. Or I'm just not ready for a long time. But
Uh-huh.
even when I am ready, we could possibly have another dog, but she will not allow another cat. She's
hmm
just not nice. So that makes it's difficult when she's lonely, and I know she misses him
Yeah.
and there's nothing I can do about it because she's just
Yeah.
mean. So,
And not to belabor it, we'll move on to more positive, but I just want to tell you this
yes,
too.
absolutely.
When all the different care that you're given, taken to the vet, and then the bills mount up. But my wife and I said to each other, we would do this for any member of the family because a
Oh,
pet is a
absolutely.
member of the family. So you don't even think about
Absolutely.
the bills anymore, the veterinary bills. But
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
anyway, a nice thing you're doing with your 2014 Chanel calendar is part of the proceeds go towards your animal activism. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your calendar?
Well, I will tell you about that. We actually shot it in the Bahamas. The photos are amazing. And then I was busy working on films, and I missed the deadline to turn the images into my publisher. so I do not have a 2014 calendar.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is none, but I do donate every year to animal charities.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I always do, all my change at the end of every day, I put into a piggy bank, and then as soon as it gets full, I double whatever's in there and I donate it.
Oh, that's
and
great.
I do other things. Like I always donate a portion of my earnings to the animal charities, and I do, whatever events I can during the year. We're actually putting together an auction and event through one of the horror sites and another charity I work with coming up here at the end of summer. So stay tuned for that. Info will, of course, be posted on my website.
A good for you, Chanel. That's so nice. Once again, everyone, we're speaking with, of course, Chanel Ryan. Go to ChanelRyan.com. All the info, all of Chanel's appearances, including this coming weekend, June 13th, 14th, and 15th at the Bizarre AC Convention. It'll be the East Coast premiere of Circus of the Dead, starring Chanel Ryan. And like I said earlier, check out the trailer on YouTube and it's on your website as well, right, Chanel? The trailer for Circus of the Dead?
I actually don't think it is, but you can find it on my YouTube channel. I have a whole folder dedicated to Circus of the Dead.
The trailer will blow you away, everybody. Like I said, you don't have to see any other vendor at this convention. See Chanel Ryan. Check out this movie. It looks like it's going to be great. Now,
and there's actually a bunch of different trailers for Circus of the Dead. The director is very creative, and I think he's put out maybe 4 different ones.
Okay,
so,
I'm thinking of. I'll just say I'm thinking of the licking trailer. That's all I need to say.
Yes, I know the one. I know.
Oh my goodness, boy! I talk about intense. I'd like to just run down, mention some of your movies, and just if you can give maybe a 1 or 2 word, 3, whatever, however many sentences, I mean, about the movies, because they sound so great. It's
going to be hard for me because I talk a lot.
Well, then, as long as it takes you, because it's a pleasure speaking. It's a pleasure speaking with you, Chanel. As long as it takes, it's fine with me. Small Apartments.
Small Apartments. Jonas Åkerlund is one of my favorite directors of all time, so it was a complete dream for me to work with him. I think actually on set I said to him, "You're one of my favorite directors of all time," and he said to me, "One of your favorites."
Right, yeah. Well, you can tell he's a cool guy right there, right? From his answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dorothy and the Witches of Oz. That trailer looked super as well.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with what they did. The casting associate, actor, producer, all-around amazing guy, Barry Radcliffe, contacted me. He plays the Cowardly Lion in the film. He contacted me regarding the sequel, and which they haven't shot yet. And we started talking, and it turned out we had some mutual friends. I was so impressed by the cast, and I'm a huge fan of the original Wizard of Oz. So when he mentioned that they were doing a few pickup shots, I jumped at the chance to work on the film. So I'm in a couple of the pickup shots.
Nice, very nice. I was at a film convention years ago, and I met one of the original Munchkins. To talk about how cool.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Now,
isn't it amazing? Like that film, the impact that film has had on the world and will till the end of time.
It's my favorite movie of all time because as a little kid, I can remember
Absolutely.
It used to be a yearly thing. We used to sit in the living room, and it was a big thing. Now that it's on DVD, you can watch it anytime, but it was such a big event. Yeah.
Oh, us too.
Yep, absolutely. Scum Rocks and Alice Cooper, one of my all-time favorites to begin with. Now, he narrates this, Chanel, or
yes.
how is... Yeah.
Alice Cooper narrates the film. It is the true story of a rock band who didn't know how to play, and they had tremendous success back in the 1980s. And I play the lead singer, Hart Bauer, his disgruntled ex-girlfriend. And they have I have a cameo in it. They have a phenomenal cast of cameos from Kevin Bacon and Matthew Broderick, Fran Drescher, Jon Stewart. It just goes on and on. Alice Cooper, along with all sorts of legends in the rock genre.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned... I'm sorry. You mentioned earlier about...
I threw in Bret Michaels, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, boy, what a cast in Scum Rocks. You mentioned earlier about when you got stepped on and your toe instantly turned black and blue. Doing some horror films, I mean, you must get kind of jostled around and beaten up. Not beaten up, you know what I mean, of course. It's got to be tough in some of the roles you've played, no?
You know, yes and no. I always have, for people who don't know, in the acting world, it's a no-no to say cut. You never want to say cut during the scene. That's reserved for the director. And that would be my safe word. When you're filming something like that where there's violence and you've got to, you're in a situation where you're being thrown around and it has to look real. So I always say, if anything happens to me, if I actually legitimately get hurt and start to bleed, do not cut unless I say cut. Because if I do, I really want it to be worth it. And that's never happened to this point.
Wow.
They do everything to ensure your safety. And, it's like I have some stunt experience. So it's like you go over the scenes. They're very choreographed. So you really know what you're doing when you go into it.
Yeah.
And the actors, I've been so fortunate as well to work with actors who are more talented, more established, and way more experienced than me. So that's been a really good thing.
Well, that leads me to an actor who's been involved with many violent films on the screen, and I'll bet he was a joy to work with. And Alice D., you work with Kane Hodder.
He is such a wonderful man. Yes. Another one that I went in and I played Kane Hodder's evil sidekick. And that was very fun. And I don't have much dialogue. It's more sort of standing around being his right-hand woman in this instance. And Al, I'm one of the henchmen, and then Al Snow is the other one. For those of you who like the wrestling world, WWE's Al Snow.
I know our engineer Joe is a big wrestling fan. So
I'm a big Al Snow fan as well. So
yeah, Al Snow is such a sweetheart. One of the nicest guys you will ever meet.
And he's funny as well. He's always cracking jokes, from what I hear. So.
It's true.
Yeah. How about Bad Kids Go to Hell? I love that. These titles are so great, but Bad Kids Go to Hell is a really good title.
We're going to shoot Bad Kids 2 this summer, actually. I originally met the writers Barry Baza-Wernick and Matthew Spradlin at Toronto Wizard World. And I remember Baza said to me, "You're Miss Gleason." And at the time, I had no idea what he was talking about. And for those of you that don't know, Bad Kids Go to Hell is based on the best-selling graphic novel of the same name. So they mentioned to me that they were going to be making it into a film and that I would be great to play the cheerleading coach / history teacher, Miss Gleason. And so we kept in contact, and about a year or so later, I received an email saying, they're casting, and would I audition? And yes, even though they were interested in me, I still had to audition, and needless to say, I got the part. And it really fun. Same thing, I was with opposite Judd Nelson and Ben Browder, and they're going to be returning for part 2, along with a couple of other pretty amazing, notable cast members who I'm not allowed to say at this point in time.
And I won't give anything away, but I love the trailer when you're the coach and you tell one girl she's a particular letter and the other one's another letter. That's a great line.
Everybody knows you're an 8.
That's great. That's really great.
Exactly, yeah.
Bigger than the Beatles.
It's a nice way of saying everybody knows you're a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's delivered so perfectly by you, too.
Well, thank you.
Bigger than the Beatles. Can we talk about that for a second?
Sure, absolutely.
You play Candice Bergen in that.
I do, which was a little, once again, I don't have a large part, a little
But Candice Bergen, I mean,
yes,
that's an important part.
Who I grew up watching, I know.
And an important part to be chosen to play. So regardless of the size of the part, everyone knows Candice Bergen, so they're not going to just choose anybody.
She's legendary. I actually met Ryan Kaiser, who is one of the producers of Bigger Than the Beatles. He's also an actor. While filming Dead Sea. We were filming Dead Sea up in Big Bear, and we both happened to be on flights arriving at Ontario Airport around the same time. So the car that picked us up and drove us up the mountain together, we became friends on the ride. And shortly after wrapping Dead Sea, he contacted me and asked if I would be interested in playing Candice Bergen in Bigger Than the Beatles. Of course, I said yes. And, I'm really excited to see the finished film. The whole thing's sort of shot in black and white.
Mhm.
It's very artistic, and all the footage I've seen looks really cool. And the scenes that I saw being filmed, they're good. So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited.
the point I wanted to make about your playing Candice Bergen is everyone knows Candice Bergen, so they weren't going to just choose anyone that can handle that role. So, another feather of the many feathers in your acting cap that you were chosen to play.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bigger Than the Beatles is about Charles Manson, I believe.
It is.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, or maybe they do. I didn't know. The whole thing, Charles Manson and
Dennis Wilson,
Brian
right?
Wilson. Yes,
Dennis Wilson.
Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys. They used to do music together. And Dennis Wilson was originally going to put out an album for Charles Manson. But Charles was just such a crazy freak and couldn't control himself that he sort of blew the deal out of the water. But the whole thing that happened was the house that Candice Bergen and her boyfriend, whose name is escaping me right now, lived in that's the house that Sharon Tate then rented, where the whole horrible incident took place.
Yeah,
and so, it's not known, Candice Bergen and her boyfriend actually moved out of that house into Malibu because they were so freaked out by Charles. And then shortly after it, Charles, what went down there.
Yeah, he ordered the killings. Yeah,
exactly. So I don't know if they were aimed at them and he didn't know that they were no longer there, or if he was just trying to scare them. But basically, her boyfriend was supposed to put out Charles' album, and he backed out because Charles was having fits in the studio and all sorts of other crazy things. And
sounds like a very
too much.
Sounds like a very interesting.
It's an interesting. That's sort of what the film is about, though. It's an interesting. Film.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and
everyone.
A side of the story that a lot of people probably don't know.
Yes. Yeah. We've been speaking with the delightful and wonderful Chanel Ryan. ChanelRyan.com is the website. Also, the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database site. It kept all of her films upcoming, the ones that are in production. Before I say goodbye, Chanel, I do want to thank Solomon Shertock for kind of setting this up, helping me set this.
I know, he's such a sweetheart.
Good old Solomon, right?
Solomon, we love you.
We love you, Solomon.
Thank you. And he's going to come out to Bazaar AC on Friday. So, Solomon, I will see you on Friday.
Good. Oh, excellent. Yeah, again, everyone, see Chanel this coming weekend at the Bazaar AC Convention in Atlantic City at the Tropicana Casino and Resorts. That's Friday the 13th, the first day, Saturday the 14th, and Sunday the 15th. That's this coming weekend. Chanel, it's been such a delight to speak with you, and you're really a wonderful person, and for all of your animal activism and all you've given us in your film roles. It's such a pleasure. I'm so glad I got to speak with you and to meet you, albeit over the phone, but it's been wonderful. I hope to talk to you again sometime.
Absolutely. And can I say one last thing? I always try to end all my interviews asking the viewers, if you're going to get a pet or thinking about getting a pet, please go to your local shelter or animal adoption agency. There's so many wonderful animals that need homes. And rather than supporting the puppy mills, adopt. No. And also, if you have a pet, spay or neuter them. I don't think people understand the importance of spaying and neutering your pets. Not only in preventing unwanted pregnancies, oftentimes pets run away during the mating season just because they go a little crazy. They don't live as long of lives. I could go on and on with all the reasons, but spay and neuter, people.
Yeah, a great way to end the interview, and really appreciate it, but from a fellow animal lover. And Chanel, I've appreciated speaking with you. It was such a pleasure, and I hope we can speak again sometime.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate you squeezing me in. I know your schedule was tight, so thank you.
It was our pleasure, really. Thanks, Chanel.
All right, goodbye, everyone.